on the Heritage Fund, in the sense that we need clear sources of funding, and we have made several propositions to the government to follow and toe in that line. We believe that free SHS policy should be sustainable, and it should ensure the benefit for all Ghanaians, not just for this contemporary Ghanaian society, but for posterity and the people who come right after us. God bless you all.
Thank you very much for wonderful submissions from both caucuses. In that same spirit of free SHS, I want to talk about if that word should exist. Free women in parliament, let me say so. I'm always of the view that our women, our ladies are sidelined when it comes to politics in Ghana particularly. So if we can argue for free, so as I speak, we have just about 6 ladies. Yes. Exclude our visitors. We have just about 6 ladies amongst us. And I always want to take the platform to say that women need to be empowered. People say that, yes, women don't have the political will. But if the men don't support the women, they can't take up political roles. If my husband didn't allow me wake up at 10 a.m. to leave my house, to join a bus from Accra at 12 a.m., leaving my baby at home, I wouldn't have been here. So we need the support of the women and the men and our families as well. The ladies in here, I want to encourage you to go out there and be ambassadors of change to the young ladies in your communities. Speak to them, get them to come on board. So I think free SHS in totality, the framers of that policy wanted to consider the very poor man from Fantiakwa village who can't pay for his or her ward's school fees. And that in the interest of collectivity, it's a policy the government has rolled out to bring a balance between the rich and the poor in society. YLP is not for or against free SHS. Our mandate or our interest is in the fact that if it is a policy for the nation and for the youth and for the betterment of the nation, then it should be sustainable. That is all what we want. Whether good or bad, we want it to be sustainable just because we want our colleague, our young siblings coming up to have good and better education. All too soon, our program is coming to a successful end. However, there is a cocktail that will be taken on outside. So we'll proceed outside for the cocktail, after which we'll come back to the auditorium for our closing ceremony. Mr. Speaker would add to that.
Honorable members, can I have some order? Deputy Speaker has spoken well. Looking at the impressions I gather from the floor, I believe that we should ask Majority and Minority Leader to move a motion to close today's session.
Mr. Speaker, if I'm permitted to, it is necessary.
Okay,
it is
go
necessary
ahead.
for us to address it. The Ministry of Education, that is the Minister of Education together with his colleague, came to make a nice presentation. And they were crying foul to the extent that teachers are not available to contribute to whatever they have done. And here, a teacher sitting down here wanting to contribute to a conk and vivid issue on ground, and I stood on my feet for not more than 10 times. Mr. Speaker, in fact, it is not deep down in my heart for me to say this. But you see,
Honorable.
yeah, that is the fact. I have to make it. Please. Because if I'm not allowed, thank you.
Very brief.
I think when next we sit, we have to look at some of these things and then we address it properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable member, I think you should have communicated to your caucus leader, and that could have been brought to my attention for you to be put to the floor. Without much ado, Minority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, today's day has been a very fruitful deliberation. I have really enjoyed the enthusiasm at which honorable members have contributed generously to the various commend Tears of Africa, the brain behind Youth Leadership Parliament, for this wonderful program or initiation to help the youth in Ghana to also serve as contributors to the policy of the country. Very brief on what our honorable member rightly said. You know, they've not written teacher on your forehead anyway. But you see, today, if you realize everybody got the opportunity, looking at the percentage compared to the last sitting, almost everyone got the chance to say something. And it was an improvement on what happened. You know, everybody may have his reservation to it, but you know, we are a number. You get it? That is why in Parliament we have committees. So whether you contribute on this floor here or not, you are a contributor to the success of this meeting. We had committee meeting members submitting their reports, and it was members who supported the final report. So the Parliament that we see is not just about what we show on TV, but mostly the main game about the Parliament work itself is done at the committee level. So don't be disturbed, don't be downhearted. As I said earlier before we started the sitting, come out clear. Everything you have in mind, bring it on board. I'm sure as we've improved on this sitting, next sitting come as we'll be going to Tamale, hopefully. Those who didn't get the opportunity will definitely get, definitely. So without much ado, I would like to move for the adjournment of this sitting synodine. Thank you.
Majority Leader, I want to remind you that it is end of parliamentary year, and Parliament will dissolve. Okay. Honourable members, 2017 YLP parliamentary year has come to an end with this sitting. Before Majority Leader, you take the floor. It will be the end of another tenure of YLP members of the House. Parliament will dissolve and will reconstitute Parliament. That means all portfolios will be opened up for applications. Everybody with a portfolio will lose that portfolio when Parliament dissolves. We will communicate to members. The platform will still be open. I'll be having discussion with leadership and the clerk's office to put modalities in place as to the new application system which we would implement. This will fall in line with the decentralization of youth parliament. The parliament is building up the interest, is high, the branding is getting bigger. Recognition is very high now since we won the award at the State Banquet Hall. YLP now has a radio platform with Bosher FM on every Saturday, 11 to 12. We'll be starting our TV program in January. And therefore, I need to let us all know that when Parliament dissolves, we will have to Honorable Chief Clerk. Let's proceed. So, Majority Leader, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, the House. Right Honorable Speaker, in traveling in the footsteps of the Minority Leader, I want to also use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to say a very good thank you to the House, leadership, organizers, our media partners, our photographers, the security officer for providing us with security, our sister parliament from Central University, and to all of us. It is a great achievement. It is not easy, as Right Honorable Second Deputy Speaker said, to sacrifice your time, energy, and everything to be here. As we are here, we are tired. Leadership is something that is very difficult, and as such, if you want to be a good leader, at the youthful stage, you have to be dedicated, you have to sacrifice, you have to endure, you have to be committed, Mr. Speaker, and everything, and love what you do best. And if you don't know what you are doing, never lose hope. Keep trying. A time will come that you will be better. You see Honorable Minority Leader and most of leaders, you saw Honorable Na, Honorable Martinson, Honorable Paul Drapson, and other, they were all making submissions, and people were admiring the zeal, the passion, and the flair and finesse of their argument, Mr. Speaker, and presentation, and we are admiring that. They didn't start it just like that today. They started it by shaking and struggling to put together their thoughts and to make submissions. God being great, and with consistent effort, Mr. Speaker, they've been able to better their way of doing things, like myself. We all been through the process. Let us take up our parliamentary duties seriously. Let's work hard for YLP. Let's always try to see ourselves as brothers. Minority, majority, we are all brothers. If you don't understand something, you can even seek clarification from your colleague who is in the minority caucus, and the vice versa. The leadership, we are friends, but when we come to argument, we all have our opinions on issues, and that is the beauty of the game. And as a member of parliament, before you make submissions, you have to make sure you have evidence. In as much as this house is non-partisan, religiously free, tribally not recognized, and we claim that we are neutral in terms of all of these things, people are so passionate and sentimental when it comes to some of these things. So before you make submission, bringing in someone's religion, tribe, political party, or what have you, you need to have evidence to substantiate it. That is why we argue that this house is a house of records. You cannot just come and make empty, allegations. So let's try as much as possible to do research in helping us to be better presenters. Mr. Speaker, we thank the Central University Speaker and the Ambassador in charge of External Affairs for arranging for them to be present here. And as Mr. Speaker said, the end of this Parliament Live is today. We are ending, and 2018 will begin a new session of a new parliamentary year. So all leadership portfolios will be declared vacant. So any member, whether you are a new member, you are an old member in the House, if you are interested, you can apply for any leadership position that you want to go for. And the leaders too, if you hold leadership position and you think you are not done with your business and you still want to continue, or maybe you are a whip and you want to contest for the main whip, you are a deputy leader, you want to contest the main position, or what have you, you can come on board. But make sure that as you are coming for the portfolios, you dedicate yourself to the service of YLP, but not necessarily taking up the position for the title's sake. Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, I also want to communicate this to my caucus that, God willing, next parliamentary year, there will be changes in leadership. And still, I have unshakable vision and ambition and dreams to still lead my caucus as majority leader. So I'll still be applying.
Are you running a campaign?
Not necessarily a campaign. So, Mr. Speaker, at this point, I want to second the motion moved by the minority leader, looking at the fact that we have exhausted, if not all, but what time will permit us, as far as our other paper is concerned, so that we end here and go out to cocktail. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader. Thank you, honorable members. It's a pleasure to have you all in this beautiful chamber. 2017 has been a very difficult year, but we've put it through. Let me take this opportunity to thank the leadership that has worked with my office through the beginning of the year, the clerk's office, Honorable Gideon Boabing. I'm very grateful for the support you've given to the House. Very difficult times, even wherever I am in the world, you keep in contact and make sure YLP is running smoothly. But the House really appreciates your unreserved support. I also would like to thank my deputies, and most especially the caucus leaders. They have been a strong backbone to YLP, Honorable Prince Techi, and Majority Leader, Honorable B.W.H. Hussein Adams. They have led this House gracefully and graciously to a successful end. And I hope and I have confidence that 2018 will be a takeoff for ILP. We are building this parliament and positioning it well for the next general elections, making sure that anybody that puts himself forward as a public servant to seek the votes of any Ghanaian must go through the mill of this House. And therefore, that is why the TV program is very, very keen on our hearts to make sure that we achieve that. Let also be reminded that for all the beautiful things that we have said, members who are in arrears with their dues, please do not carry your dues into 2018. The finance minister has reiterated the challenges. Yes, so any dues arrears, please submit it to the numbers that are on the pages. You can contact the finance minister. I'm sure you can take his number or his WhatsApp contact and communicate with him directly. Without very much ado, I declare this House dissolved till it's reconstituted again sine die. The House may rise.
Those of us who didn't talk, we're not coming to talk.